Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Dustin Baker live from Tulsa. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
He's a part of the SBA Roadshow. He does great stuff. I love what you do. We're going to get into that in a second. And Joseph Coleman's joining us. The ladies in school. Lance is off. Who said Lance could take the day off? I don't know. So, hey, what's going on in your footprint? What is the grade you would give your small businesses in your footprint? And I've left the question vague in terms of you can interpret it however way you want to interpret that. Are they doing well? Are they struggling? Are they going to get better? 74% B. Interesting. Dustin, how's that line up with what you see when you're out on the road?
I wrote on my little notepad here B. I think there's a lot of businesses that have figured out a way to thrive and a handful that kind of didn't make it. But the ones that are still there, I think are doing really well from what we've seen.
Are you seeing a lot of startups?
No. Well, I should say I'm seeing a lot of side hustlers trying to turn the side hustle into a full-time thing.
Ooh, I like that.
So in terms of kind of a robust startup, I think that's still a little more challenging, just empirically from what I've seen.
In my footprint, I'm seeing a lot of new restaurant concepts coming in, taking the place of the restaurants that closed. So that's been a huge turnover where I live. I was curious if that was being replicated throughout the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I have, let's see, second poll question. Do you see the reinstatement of guarantee fees slowing demand in fiscal 22? Now, we don't know. Things could change in the budget or whatever, but I guess I'm asking would guarantee fees affect your demand? It's about half and half, and that I think that makes sense to me. Dustin, who do you talk to on the road? Do you? I assume you talk to bankers and small business entrepreneurs and other people interested in Main Street. What are the lenders telling you?
Yeah, I think the folks that we talk to, and our business is, staffing largely, and then do a little bit of loan placement in addition to running around the country talking to people. So
is that considered a side hustle, or is the roadshow the side hustle?
The roadshow is the side hustle that's become a second full-time job.
I want to clarify.
It's the hobby that is eating everything else, is what it is. So. Yeah,
it's a great hobby. It's a great hobby. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been fun. What I hear is that everybody is exhausted. They're pushing as hard as they can to close as much before the end of September. A lot of folks are going to take a breather. They anticipate a drop off in volume because they've cramped so much into the last part of this quarter that there's probably going to be a deep breath of air for a while, is my guess.
And we do not anticipate the program running out of money. It's going to be close, but we're not going to see any holidays in the program. So I think that's positive. That's interesting you said exhausting. Joseph, that was the same term that you picked up in Philadelphia. Tell
Absolutely.
us, where have you been, Dustin, and where are you going?
We just came back from Dallas. We were there around a leadership summit for SBA folks, and then the Mid-American Lenders Conference had a big lenders lunch in their first one in a year and a half. I got to speak there, which was a lot of fun to see a room full of people again. So Dallas, we're headed to Atlanta this week. We're headed to Dallas again for Malk in September, and then to Flagel, and then out to San Diego if it happens for the NAGLE conference in the fall. And got a couple other things shoehorned into that. So we've got a full travel slate coming up for sure.
Are you driving in California, or are you going to fly?
The plan is to fly to most of these places this fall, and then we'll head out on another long trip in the first quarter. If everything lines up, probably a 3-week trip to do a bunch of new interviews. So.
Well, let's go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your show. You've completed season 1. Tell me what the concept is on that. You did 8 episodes. Why is that? And just tell us Tell us, first of all, tell us what gave you this idea.
Yeah, I told people a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, every day I have about 100 new ideas, and 99 of them are terrible. They're things that I should never even think again about. Yeah.
That was him.
Sounds like Winston. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Occasionally one will kind of take hold,
Right.
and then, it kind of gets his own life. And so this is just one of those where I think a lot of restlessness around wanting to see people again, and that big gap of time from doing that. One thing led to another, and the more people that I talked to and said, is this crazy? And they said, no, you've got to do it. And so eventually we just decided to see if we could pull it off, and so we did.
Now, in your truck, do you have the big SBA Roadshow logo on the side of your truck there?
I have a little sticker on the back and a personalized license plate that says RD Space Show. Yeah.
All right,
I've been told I need to wrap it. I'm waiting on a sponsor to pay for the wrap.
I'm kidding you on the wrap. Well, that's cool. All right, you got a little bit there. That's good. So set it up. So who'd you talk about the first season, and what are we doing in the second season? When does the second season start?
Yeah. Well, the first season was interesting because you're asking a bunch of people to be a guest on something they've never seen before and promising, them that you won't make them look stupid. And so interviewed a bunch of people that I already knew, and then they introduced me to their clients. So the idea is we talk to an SBA professional, and then we talk to one of their borrowers in the next episode and kind of track with it like that. So we went through kind of the Southeast up into part of the Midwest and talked with some old friends and a bunch of their customers, and everything from music venues to manufacturing facilities. It was pretty interesting. Group to a distillery. That was my favorite. Well,
what type of
yeah. So, and then spirits mostly. It was Louisville, so bourbon is the big king there. And that was fun to kind of see them do what they were doing, and
absolutely.
And they're thriving. They're going gangbusters. They're buying a new warehouse, and so it's neat to see kind of how folks have snapped back in this time. And then this next season, we headed out to Colorado. We had some things to show people, so we got to meet some new folks here. But then some of the old suspects, like Cal Regan at Meadows Bank, and people that have been in the industry for a long, long time. And again, they're customers. So the next season, we're going to see a lot of mountains, a little bit of skiing, and GoPro footage, and have a good time out there.
Now, I'm looking at this slide here. It says subscribe. What am I subscribing to?
The YouTube channel. If you subscribe there, you're going to see every time we launch a new video, you'll kind of get a little alert to that. You can subscribe to our newsletter, which is where we kind of let people know that we are where we're going to be next, and we're doing some live interviews in some of these spots to kind of fill the gap between the seasons. So they can do that at sbaroadshow.com if they want to get the newsletter.
Right, yeah.
This is the YouTube channel here. Yeah.
Awesome. So just go to YouTube and type in SBA Roadshow, and there you are.
Yeah, it's just youtube.com/SBA
Excellent. Well, good for you. Tell us about. Okay, so I love the hustle, but what's your real business?
Yeah. The real business that pays for all the hobby business is I've been in staffing in the SBA space for 17 years now, and have owned my own firm for the last 12. So we work with typically top 100 national lenders that are growing and have a little bit of scale to them, and just placing folks everywhere from loan closer to CEO. And then we do a little bit of loan placement in the gaps because that's just kind of grown naturally out of everything else that we do.
Over the past 17 years that you've done this, how does the current environment rate?
It's as white hot as it's ever been. And for every 2 interviews that we set up, we hire someone this year. And the stats are just, and usually it's, you're going to get 1 out of 5 if you're doing well. We just can't find enough people for the demand. And I think remote work is a really interesting player too, because it's created a lot of attrition in shops that didn't deal with attrition before. If you're in some place and you've trained folks up and you think, well, they're not going to go to work for somebody else because they'd have to move. Well, now all of a sudden there's just so much movement right now. And most of it's on the operational side. Salespeople are going nowhere. because they're making as much money as they've ever made in their life, and they're all in the top tier of their comp plans. But operational people are in such high demand. They're making at least double what they would make for the same job when I started doing this 17 years ago.
So
and it's not just inflation. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go underwriting year over year. What percentage of an increase are underwriters looking in compensation? Ballpark. I know it's all over, but ballpark.
Base salary, I guess we're 15 to 20% increase over this time last year.
But it's in the good double digits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Very good. Joseph, let's run Dustin's video.
You got it. Yeah.
Justin, set this up for us.
This is a conversation. Yeah. This is a conversation I had with John Handmaker, who I've known for a long time. In fact, he just retired about a month ago. So I don't know if interviewing with me is the kiss of death or if it's good. I think he's having a good time retired, but yeah, John is talking about something he's talked about for a long time, and that is adversity and what it looks like to respond to adversity, both for him and for the customers that take advantage of SBA loans through them. And it was just a really good moment, and I think speaks to a lot of what we've struggled through for the last couple of years now, in having to constantly pivot and navigate adversity. So that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Go ahead, Joseph, run it.
All right, guys. Again, if the audio you need to click, just bear with us, but let's see if this works.
Learn about so many different businesses and work with so many different people who have this passion, and to hear their story. And many, I mean, there's nothing more powerful than listening to somebody who's been through the ringer, and they've been through so much strife and struggle in their life, and all of a sudden they built this incredible business where, you know, they've all of a sudden overcome the adversity. And that's just one of my beliefs in life. Look, you're gonna face headwinds no matter what. Yeah. And you're gonna get knocked down, and how you react to that not only tells the character of who you are, but it also builds a culture of a company.
Nope. That's a great clip, guys. I think you need to unmute everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, there, I unmuted Dustin. Yeah, he's unmuted. Very nice. Where was that? Nice little setting, Dustin.
That was John's living room. His house is, you know, it's okay. Little better than a shanty. We did a fun piece after that, because if you've ever been to Louisville, that's how you've got to say it. It's not Louisville, and it's certainly not Louisville. It's Louisville. And so we had this funny banter about how to pronounce it. So we made a master class about how to pronounce Louisville. And I've got Handmaker in it. And at the bottom, it says only a small portion of the course fees will go toward building John Handmaker's vast empire. And
well, we'll get you in California, and when we'll teach you how to say some of our words out here.
Okay. Deal.
That's very good. Well, great. I love having you come on, Dustin. I love what you're doing, and please you have trailers, have videos, send them to us. We'll be happy to run them. And I think you've agreed you're going to come on monthly and tell us about what you're doing, right?
I'm glad to do it. I'm really delighted to be here. Thanks for having me.
Check out Dustin. You're going to be at Atlanta and also Mid-America. So Joseph, you're going to be there, so the two of you can swap war stories and maybe do some cross-interviewing. Dustin, great. Thank you very much. Well, that's it. We have a big webinar coming up in top of the hour. It's not too late to join, about credit memos for loans over 350. Very critical. And again, the SBIC program on September 8th. Please feel free to take advantage of our loan training, specifically underwriting and closing. Those have been updated and are doing very well. So it's online, so you can sign up anytime and go from there. Dustin, thank you very much. Joseph, thank you. And thank you all for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
See you, everyone.